Bearded dragon is this reptile's common name, while its scientific name is Pogona. The name bearded dragon refers to the beard of the dragon, the underside of the throat, which can turn black for a number of reasons, most often as a result of stress. They are a semi-arboreal species, spending significant amounts of time on branches, in bushes, and near human habitation. Pogona species bask on rocks and exposed branches in the mornings and afternoons. They are found throughout much of Australia in a wide range of habitats such as deserts, shrublands and eucalyptus woodlands. Several species of this genus, especially the central bearded dragon, are often kept as pets. They can also be exhibited in zoos due to their hardy nature and easy care in comparison to other exotic reptiles. The triangular heads and flattened bodies with spiny scales arranged in rows and clusters. These are found on the throat, which can be expanded when threatened, and at the back of the head. These scales are used to scare off predators, yet they are not very sharp. Bearded dragons display a hand-waving gesture to show submission, most often when acknowledging another bearded dragon's territory, and a head-bobbing display to show dominance between dragons. A dominant male will adopt a dominant stance and sometimes ready himself for a fight to attack a male aggressor to defend territory, food sources, or in competition for a female. Any approaching male will be seen as a challenge for the territory without displaying submissive behavior. Aggressive males have also been known to attack females who do not display submissive gestures in return. Some have the ability to slightly change color during rivalry challenges between males, in response to ambient temperature changes such as turning black to absorb heat, and other stimuli. Males grow up to 60 centimeters, 24 in, long, and females up to 51 centimeters, 20 in. Bearded dragons also produce a mild venom originating from primitive venom glands. Although generally harmless towards humans, it is effective towards smaller-sized animals. Bearded dragons originate from deserts in Australia, with the various species occupying slightly overlapping areas of the landmass. They live in the arid and subtropical woodlands, scrublands, savannas, shore areas, and into the great interior deserts. Their range extends throughout the interior of the eastern states to the eastern half of South Australia and southeastern Northern Territory. They are considered to be semi-arboreal and will quite readily climb and bask at height. This is also linked to dominance behavior and competition for territory, basking areas. They can be found on fallen, broken trees, rocky outcrops and bushes when basking. Bearded dragons go through a type of hibernation called brumation. Brumation is like hibernation where reptiles go months without eating but they sporadically drink water. Reptiles go dormant in the hottest temperatures, but it differs from brumation during cooler temperatures. When temperatures are extreme, there is a very small range between temperatures that the reptiles' bodies can stay active and where their body cannot tolerate the extreme heat and they die. Bearded dragons go through brumation when the temperature goes below 60 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit during the night and 75 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit during the day for 8 to 10 hours. When the climate is too hot, they will often burrow underground. They will also form more permanent burrows or covered hiding places to use as protection from the climate changes at night and predation. When brumation comes to an end, the male bearded dragon goes out to find a mate. A courtship ritual occurs where the male starts bobbing his head, waving his arms, and stomping his feet in front of the female. The male chases the female and will bite the back of her neck and hold on while he gets in position to copulate. During the breeding period, female bearded dragons can store sperm in the vitical crypts. This allows the female bearded dragon to lay a clutch of 11 to 30 eggs twice from one mating. Bearded dragons mate in the spring and summertime. During mating season, a male bearded dragon bobs its head and stamps its feet to attract a female. A female can lay from 11 to 30 eggs at a time. After mating with one male, a female may lay 2 or 3 different groups of eggs that number 11 to 30. A female bearded dragon may lay 9 groups or clutches of eggs in 1 year. The gestation period of this reptile is 55 to 75 days. This is a lot shorter than an iguana's, which is 90 to 120 days. It takes about 3 days for a baby bearded dragon to break out of its egg. Its birth weight is around 1 ounce and it'll be about 3 to 4 inches long. A baby bearded dragon that is 4 inches in length is just a little longer than a crayon. Baby bearded dragons are sometimes called hatchlings. Once a female bearded dragon lays her eggs, she doesn't see them again. They are on their own immediately after they hatch. Bearded dragons live for about 15 years. Pet bearded dragons may live a little longer because of the lack of threat from predators. These reptiles are sometimes vulnerable to respiratory infections and parasites, but otherwise live healthy lives if they take in enough nutrition. The oldest bearded dragon is listed in the Guinness Book of World Records. This bearded dragon named Sebastian. He died in 2016 in England. Who died at the old age of 18 years. 237 days on January 24, 2016. He was owned by Leanne Burgess, UK, of Middlesex, UK. Owner Leanne brought Sebastian home on Christmas Eve in 1997. When breeding bearded dragons, the incubation temperature can change the sex of the baby within the egg regardless of its sex chromosomes. If the eggs are incubated at a higher temperature, 34 degrees Celsius, 93.2 degrees Fahrenheit and higher, the hatchlings will be female, and when the eggs are incubated at a lower temperature, 30 degrees Celsius, 86.0 degrees Fahrenheit and lower, they will be male. During the development of an embryo, abnormalities may result in birth defects. These abnormalities might be caused by chromosomal disorders, chemicals, or other genetic or environmental factors. Bicephalism. Bicephalism is when a bearded dragon is born with 2 heads and 1 body. Anisartia. Anisartia is when a bearded dragon is swollen within the egg. Observing eggs in the incubator, an anisartia egg will appear to be sweating. The cause of this is not known. Schistosomus refluxa, Schistosomus refluxes when the organs of a bearded dragon develop outside of the body. Spinal and limb defects. Spinal and limb defects are abnormalities in the spine, tail, limbs, or toe. This occurs when there are nutritional deficiencies, trauma, or temperature issue during the development of the affected area. Microphthalmia. Enophthalmia: microphthalmia. Enophthalmia is when a bearded dragon is born with small eye or no eye. The cause of these defects is a traumatic event or an environmental event that occurred during the development of the eyes. Hermaphroditism. Hermaphroditism is when the reproductive organs of both male and female are present. When a bearded dragon is born with both reproductive organs, infertility is the result. Bearded dragons are omnivores. They are not picky about their diet. They eat insects such as cockroaches, crickets and locusts. In addition, they will snack on flowers, fruit and leaves. Some bearded dragons eat lizards and small rodents such as mice. These reptiles eat about once a day. If an adult bearded dragon is hunting crickets, it may eat 2 or 3 large ones. A baby bearded dragon that is growing quickly is likely to eat more than an adult reptile. Fireflies and other insects that glow in the dark are poisonous to bearded iguanas. The chemical in a firefly's body that makes it glow is harmful to a bearded dragon. In addition, bearded dragons do eat fruit, however avocados are poisonous to them. One way to determine the sex of your bearded dragon is to look at the base of its tail for hempnal bulges. If your bearded dragon has them, then it's a male. A second way to check your pet's sex is to look for femoral pores on the underside of your bearded dragon's back legs. If you see these pores, your pet is a male. A third way is to take a close look at your pet if you have two to compare. A male bearded dragon has a bigger head and body than a female. Bearded dragons come in a range of sizes and colors. This is done by carefully breeding 2 or more bearded dragons together with specific traits to produce bearded dragon offspring with desired characteristics. Oftentimes bearded dragon breeders will use certain words to describe the beardies they are selling that many people may not understand. This section will go over everything you need to know about these bearded dragons. Normal, bearded dragon offspring from breeding 2 bearded dragons with different traits. Hypo, bearded dragon offspring from breeding 2 bearded dragons with hypomelanism traits. Generally the offspring are lighter in color and have a significant reduction of dark colors in the skin, eyes, and nails. Trans, bearded dragon offspring from breeding 2 bearded dragons with translucent traits which makes their skin appear to be slightly translucent, see-through. Generally trans bearded dragons have solid black eyes. Hypotrans, bearded dragons that lack dark colors and have slightly transparent, translucent skin. Het hypo, bearded dragons that carry the hypomelanism trait, yet do not display it visually. If the het hypo produces offspring, some of the offspring may show the hypomelanism trait while others don't. This is largely dependent on the traits of bearded dragon which it was bred with. Het trans, bearded dragons that carry the translucent trait, yet do not display it visually. When they produce offspring, some of the offspring may show the translucent trait, while others may not. This depends on the traits of the other bearded dragon which was mated. Double head, bearded dragons that carry both the hypomelanism and translucent traits, yet do not display them visually. Their offspring may or may not show these traits, depending on the traits carried by the other bearded dragon which was used to mate. Het trans, bearded dragons that show the hypomelanism trait, yet carry, and don't display, the translucent traits. Het hypo, bearded dragons that show the translucent trait, yet carry, and don't display, the hypomelanism trait. There are several different types of bearded dragons. Generally the types have less to do with their color and more to do with the bearded dragon's size and appearance. Below are some different types of bearded dragons. German giant bearded dragons. The German giant dragons are bred by mating dragons that are larger in size than the average dragon. By doing this with every generation they have developed a breed of dragons that are generally 50% larger than regular bearded dragons. These dragons come in a variety of different colors. However, since they are usually specifically bred, most breeders will produce German giants in unique colors. Leatherback bearded dragons. Leatherback dragons have a mutated gene which prevents their scales from growing to full size. This gives them a larger number of smaller scales which make the dragon appear and feel smoother. The smaller scales also help increase the coloring of the dragon. These dragons come in a variety of different colors. However, since they are usually specifically bred, most breeders will produce leatherbacks in unique colors. Silkback bearded dragons. Silkbacks are bred by mating two leatherback dragons. The end result is new dragons with an even smoother appearance. Generally the scales are so small on some silkbacks that they look as smooth as skin. These dragons come in a variety of different colors. However, since they are usually specifically bred, most breeders will produce slickbacks in unique colors. In nature, the color of a bearded dragon was dependent upon its habitat. However, because of selective breeding, you can get bearded dragons in just about every color. How selective breeding works. Selective breeding is the process of mating two specific bearded dragons with each other to produce offspring that have specific traits you want. For example, if you find a male and female bearded dragon that contain a lot of red coloring, their offspring will have even more red coloring. Since selective breeding can produce so many color variations of bearded dragons, it would be pointless to list all the different names the breeders have given their specific breed. However, you can classify all the colors into the following categories. Red bearded dragons. Red bearded dragons are bred by breeding two different dragons with a high amount of red coloring. This causes their offspring to have a much more red appearance. The more generations that are bred, the deeper the red coloring can become. By breeding red dragons with different colored dragons, you can produce a variety of uniquely colored dragons. The following is a list of bearded dragons that have a mostly red appearance: red bearded dragon, blood red bearded dragon, ruby red bearded dragon, yellow bearded dragons. Yellow bearded dragons are bred by breeding two different dragons with a high amount of yellow coloring. This causes their offspring to have a much more yellow appearance. The more generations that are bred, the deeper the yellow coloring can become. When breeders combine yellow dragons with red dragons, they will often produce dragons that are golden in appearance. The following is a list of bearded dragons that have a mostly yellow appearance: gold bearded dragon, lemon fire bearded dragon, citrus bearded dragon, sandfire gold bearded dragon, yellow bearded dragon, white bearded dragons. White dragons are bred by mating two dragons with white or pale coloring to produce a new generation of dragons that have a lighter color. The following is a list of bearded dragons that are white or pale: albino bearded dragon, snow bearded dragon. The following is a list of bearded dragons that have a mix of red with other colors: sandfire red bearded dragon, orange bearded dragon, citrus tiger bearded dragon, sunburst bearded dragon, tangerine bearded dragon. There are 8 different species of bearded dragons, though some sources say 9 or 10, all of which are found in Australia, the natural habitat of bearded dragons. Below is some general information about each species.